So, you hear these stories of these people that have been coming to my office for the last 4 or 5 months, and they're not coming to see some business opportunity presentation. They're coming because they're following people that they trust and believe in. And what I, unplanned, what I would share is just why. Why did I decide to come back into this profession? Because, like pretty much everybody in the room, I had been screwed and tattooed. I swore off MLM forever. I was never a network marketer. I was a marketing guy who had a travel background. And I thought I could change that genre of direct selling, travel, MLM. So I started a company, crazy enough to think I could do something different. And that was 12 years ago. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I learned a whole lot of stuff. Today you might say I have a PhD, but back then I didn't know that the owners shouldn't be in the downline. I thought it was normal. Because I partnered with some guys that were sort of iconic in travel and network marketing, and I didn't know anything about compensation plans. I didn't know the binary that we had was broken 6 ways to Sunday. I didn't know about managing governance. I didn't know that you could get voted out of your own company if you didn't have the right vote. Learned a lot about setting up businesses. So what happens when you get thrown out of your own company? Yeah, you get thrown out of your own company. It's kind of like you guys, most of you are parents. It's like birthing a child, right? If you're an entrepreneur and you create something, like I've been a creator my whole life. I'm an artist. Right? I started out as a musician. I was a graphic artist. It's kind of my dad's an artist. If you search my name on the internet, you see more of my dad than me. He's an actual artist, but I got that DNA, right? So I've always been like a creator, which ended up being a marketer, because I create stuff. I don't know how it happens. It just comes out. But so when you're a creator, it's like your child. It's like, where's Lewis? Mike and Lewis. Was Lewis not in here? Oh, they had to leave? Like I can't even fathom the talent that this guy has as an artist. But I know how he feels as an artist. Like, this is his baby, right? Even though he gave it to us. So when you create something, and it's kind of like birthing a child, and then it got taken away. It's like social service came and take my child away from me. And it was worse for me because not only did I get thrown out of my own company, but I had to watch it grow in front of my eyes with this is my child. They took my child away from me, but I can't help grow it. And it was really hard, to the point where I don't want to see anything. Because I was already, they severed my leg. I think I was comatose on the couch for 4 months, crying every day. Because that's how deeply I was wounded from getting thrown out of my own company. And then it grew up and became Frankenstein. So now I gotta go kill it. So I spent a lot of years, I didn't want anything to do with network marketing. How many of you felt that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I ran out of money, and I started trying to figure out, okay, I have all these values and talent of what we do from a marketing perspective, video production, all kinds of stuff. So I started helping these other companies. You know, I got the benefit, was blessed to play at the highest elevation in the industry as an owner. So when you play at that elevation, we kind of all know each other, right? And I'm in Dallas now, so it's like the #2 hub in the world for direct selling. So it's like we all know each other, and not just all the owners, but you know, like what we call the 1%. We all know each other. So when you're playing in that environment, you know, it's easy to go help or get help or make money. In my case, I was just trying to make money. And so I went to the first company that needed some marketing help, and they wanted me to come in and be the CMO. And I'm like, I've never had a job. I've always been an entrepreneur. So, you know, I'm not an employee mindset. Right? I can't have a ceiling on my income. You guys are entrepreneurs, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. So, you know, someone asked me to come in and like work for them. Like, I don't really know how to do that, but they were my friends. So I went in, I said, okay, you know, obviously gonna pay me to do it. But I walked into this first environment, and I just like, it was like I walked through this portal back into this cesspool. Like it was just like ugly, toxic cesspool. And I lasted like 5 months, and I went back to them and I said, I'm not ready, like I can't do it. You know, I just would butt heads with all these, you know, we talk about these narcissistic sociopaths, right? I've seen a lot of them. And so I left that and I said, I can't do it. And I went to, you know, I got sort of recruited into this other one down in Austin. And this guy wasn't a network marketer, you know, because one of the things I learned about direct selling is that a network marketer should never own a network marketing company. We'll talk about why, but so this guy, you know, he wasn't one. He came from, you know, traditional business and had all these accolades, and you know, they convinced me he's not like all those other ones. I went down there and he was like twice as bad. I mean, because of the, can I say douchebag? It's okay if I just get really open and honest. No one has a problem with the truth, right?
Right.
Okay, some people can't handle the truth. They get pissed off. I tell them the truth.
Truth sets you free.
We're okay?
The truth will set you free.
So this douchebag was more dangerous than the MLM douchebag, because he, you know, when you're not from the industry and you're even more calculating, you're even more of a snake, he's more dangerous. Because, you know, like I said, I grew up in LA, usually I could smell BS. This guy got over me, and it makes him dangerous, because he was getting over a lot of other people. So of course I didn't even want to help this guy, so I left. And I did it one more time, 3 times. I went to another company that was bleeding, they were in bankruptcy, and they wanted me to help come and save their life, and they had no shot of getting saved, but I said, you know, okay, I'm looking at this landscape of direct selling. And I'm playing at this really high elevation, you know. I'm talking about, when I'm talking about this cesspool, that's not the industry as a whole. There's a cesspool. And I'm going to tell you how I can track this stuff, but I'm not talking about legacy companies, because usually you don't see this cesspool in an Avon or Mary Kay or Amway. It's a whole different kind of elevation. But I grew up in the cesspool. Is what I got taught. So you know, by these characters and snakes and alligators and douchebags. And just shoot me in the head to own another MLM. But I'm looking at this landscape, and I'm looking everywhere, and I'm like, there's nothing out there. Because I also watching all these people go from over these, you know, you saw the squiggly line on Friday. You know, I'm watching all these people in the industry that I've known for a long time now, it doesn't happen every month. It's like, next year, now he's over there, now she's there, what? Like all these, I watch these people go from company to company to company, and I started, kind of looking at it, from a different colored lens. And I said, well, there's some clues. Why did people go from company to company? At the end of the day, I figured out why. When we walk down the street, we say multi-level marketing. What do people say?
Pyramid.
Why?
Only the top.
Robert's making all the money? That's what they would say, right?
I mean, they'll tell you all kinds of stuff. They don't really know what they don't know, but the reality is there's a lot of truth to it. There's a whole lot of Ponzi's in network marketing.
It's true.
Because there's a lot of these douchebags. But why? So I started looking. I had an epiphany. I figured out why. It's a cesspool of where it's taboo. You know what taboo means, right? It's like if you say multi-level marketing to the average person, they say it's a Ponzi pyramid scheme. Even though they don't know what they don't know, that's what they say. It's taboo. So I could track it. I started looking at it. I knew all the players, most of them, and I looked at the timelines. Okay, so first I was like, I'm literally trying to figure out why. So because if I really want to fix something, I got to figure out what's broken first. I know there's a problem, but what's the actual problem? And I figured it out because I was designing travel websites since 1995. There really wasn't an internet, right? So I sort of, from an entrepreneur standpoint, I've been involved in the internet since it was really formed. So I watched, right? And then I had been involved in this network marketing genre, especially on the internet because my background is travel. So I realized, I had this epiphany that what happened, what changed the industry, is the internet showed up. Because the internet allowed any douchebag to go build a website, put a label on a product, and say we're in pre-launch.
Makes sense.
Because by the beginning of the century, there was this false sense of reality that only the people in the beginning or at the top make all the money. Right? That's what people actually think. If you don't get in the beginning, you can't make any money. That's because most of them were pyramids, literally, because binaries were created by the douchebags. Sorry, not sorry. So I realized that the internet caused the problem of where we find ourselves later. We're about 20 years in. So I'm looking at the landscape of direct selling, and I'm looking at every company that we have these problems with are younger than 20 years. Most of them way younger than 20 years old, right? In fact, some of the companies that are only 2 or 3 or 4 years old being run by some douchebags that got taught by some other douchebags. And they got taught that this is how it's supposed to work. If you're a network marketer and you think you're going to go be some Billy badass and start your own company, then that means it's your company. So you're going to build the company for yourself. So the internet came along, allowed any douchebag, snake, or alligators build a website, put a label on a product. Doesn't even matter what's in the tub. Says all I want is your money. I want you to go sell, because all the money is going to come to me anyways. Right? So I'm still trying to figure out what's the problem with network marketing. So the number one problem, a bunch of people taking notes, I like this. The number one problem in the industry today, again, I'm not talking about legacy companies. I'm talking about companies that are 20 years or younger, and it's not 100% of them. But you have all been screwed in tattoos, I guarantee you, from a company or companies that the owner's in the downline. Period. And not only do I know this, but it baffled my mind that everyone else knew it, at least at the top of the food chain. Because a lot of people don't know what they don't know, but again, when you're playing at this elevation, you know all these, you know the players, you know the 1%ers. So the 1%ers are usually, the people at the top of these food chains that know the owners in the downline, and they're all lying about it. The owners are lying about it. They have their wife, sister, cousin, uncle, kid in the genealogy. Half of the 1%ers are lying about it because they're in on it. They're the ones getting the deals and the BDAs and the, how many of you know someone that got moved in the genealogy by the owner to someplace else in the company?
Oh, absolutely.
How does that happen? Well, I know how it happens. Why does it happen? Well, because the owner is expecting all the money. And they're already playing around with these 1%ers that are playing. So if this guy or girl, it's usually, oh, by the way, sorry, this one I'm sorry about. It's the men screwing all this stuff up.
Amen.
The women aren't doing it.
You're right.
No, I'm telling you. All the snakes and alligators, for the most part, are men.
It's true.
It's true. So, they're the ones, and by the way, it doesn't matter if it's a binary or unilevel structure. Same thing. So, the problem is, number one, the former network marketer should never own a network marketing company in the first place. Because they don't know, especially, remember, it's been going on for 20 years, so these guys, mostly guys, because you don't see women owning network marketing companies unless you have Mary Kay. So these usually are people who, A, are narcissistic, sociopathic, egomaniacal, a-hole. You know any of those? Who believe they own you, who are lying to your face, and you know they are, and they know that you know they are, but they don't care because they're full of it, right? And they don't care that they're going to manipulate the genealogy because it's their company. Too bad, so sad. So I've watched this for years. So now I know why network marketing is taboo. Because you can't convince me of any other reason. Yeah, there's been some bad products. And usually only douchebag put out a bad product. Sorry. There's been some, really great products that have been attempted to go into the industry, but were just led by really bad owners. Really great products, it's not the right ownership mentality. And then there's been some companies that have just failed because, people don't have the knowledge, experience, business sense, or whatever to own and operate a successful business. That's not network marketing. People start businesses all the time and fail. It's really hard to be your own boss or own a company, be an entrepreneur. That's why in the definition of entrepreneur, it says risk. Yep. So, you got a problem. You have to, if you're going to fix the pain, you have to know what the problem is. So, this problem isn't so much as much as the owners in the downline. That's a problem. Because, no one wants to compete with the owner. When the owner's in the downline, you're all competing with the owner. Mm-hmm. But what's really happening is that there's zero trust. Because you all know they're lying. And if you know they're a liar and you don't trust them, are you going to call that place home?
No.
So, you guys familiar with blue ocean strategies?
Yes.
Who's not? Blue ocean strategy. Okay. So blue ocean strategy literally is a book that was written by a couple of PhD types. And a blue ocean strategy, basically, they studied companies that created their own market within a market. And really, the definition of a blue ocean strategy is that you render the competition irrelevant. So here's what I mean. They studied companies like Apple, Nike. I'm talking about companies that created a market of their own within a market. My favorite example is Cirque du Soleil. How many of you have been to Cirque du Soleil show in Vegas? That's usually where they're at. So, but that's a circus. So before Cirque du Soleil, what was the circus? Barnum and Bailey, elephants and clowns. Where's the three-ring circus today? It's over. Network marketing. So you could say that Cirque du Soleil rendered the competition irrelevant. They're gone. They created their own market. They call that a blue ocean. Why is it a blue ocean? Because everyone else is just copying each other, beating each other up, creating a red ocean because they're blooding the waters. It's a red ocean. It's what all the other... You know how many travel MLMs there are right now? It's like 7 or 8 of them. And they're all the same. In fact, almost all of them are using the same booking engine. True. They all have some little minor tweak to something, or it's a joke. And it's just bloody red water. So, if you're going to really change something, transform an industry like we want to do, you have to literally render the competition irrelevant. And in order to fix the things that need to be fixed, you have to address the things that we know are broken, right? So blue ocean means, when I'm looking at the strategies and studying blue ocean strategies, so part of when you study this stuff is you don't, so it's not a red ocean, you don't look at the competition. You create a new target. And usually in a blue ocean strategy, they're what really good companies that have created their own market within a market, they'll use some strategies of a genre of business that's totally separate from their market. Does that make sense? So in other words, if I'm going to change direct selling, I can't look at the landscape of the existing direct selling companies as what I want to emulate. I got to look at successful companies. Now my background's travel, so I started looking at Expedia. And I was looking at Expedia for a reason, because they're the 800-pound gorilla in online travel agencies, which we call OTAs, online travel agencies. Now, the reason Expedia is because they're not only an 800-pound gorilla, but they're a publicly traded company. And the reason I was looking at that is because, again, if we're going to change the industry, we have to do things that most of the industry aren't willing to do. Now, most of the companies in the industry, because they're douchebags and liars, would never be a publicly traded company. Why? Because it's 100% transparent. Everything is highly regulated, everything is audited, and every audit is filed publicly. So you don't even have to be a shareholder to read the filings. In other words, if you're a publicly traded company, you cannot lie about what they usually lie about, which is the volume of business they're doing. They're all liars about how much they really sold. They're all liars about how many people they actually had at the convention. You've seen this, right? Yeah. They're all liars. But if you're in a public environment, You can't lie.
Right.
Literally, I can't be a liar and own a publicly traded company. So, but that's not why to have a publicly traded company. There's a different why behind it. Actually, there's 2 or 3 reasons that we're strategizing, right? The greatest problem we have because of these problems that I'm sharing with you. Owners in the downline, everybody's lying about it. There's no company that anyone would call home today in this landscape. But the number one problem that you were grappling with was attrition. And I can debate anybody on this. How many of you in your last company or companies worked your ass off to build and build and build, and you were frustrated trying to keep up with the amount of people that were quitting out the back door?
Yes. Can't close the back door.
So you guys understand attrition.
Yeah.
So I start the travel network marketing company that becomes the largest in the world. At 80 to 100% attrition a month. 80 to 100% attrition a month, and still became the largest travel MLM in the world to this day. But I only share that with you because I learned what attrition was on a very large scale. And I knew what and why the attrition was happening. Owners were in the downline. By the way, I was an owner, but I wasn't in the downline. In fact, my job, I was the co-founder and president, was to put out the fires of my partners. That's all I did as the president of the company, put out all the fires of the owners in the downline. I've seen everything. But what I learned, that's why I say, today I would say I have a PhD, even though there's no college for direct selling. I learned the biggest problem besides the owners and liars is attrition. So, how do you change an industry? Well, you got to have a company that has basically no attrition. So how do you do that becomes the question, right? Why do people quit?
Deception, lies, manipulation.
Not what they thought.
Okay. For all the reasons we're talking about, people quit. And people really, actually, believe it or not, one of the primary reasons people quit is that they were led to believe that the money in the comp plan was what mattered. We're recruiting. We're going to come back to that, but remember what I'm saying. Attrition normally happens because we're using the money in the comp plan to lure you in. And how many people actually make money in network marketing? Like 98% never make a check.
Wow.
Never make their money back. So if you led me to believe that I was going to make $10,000 a month and I was going to drive that car and live in this house and that was going to make me happy, and I never made my money back, and you're charging me $100 a month auto ship for this, whatever. Now remember, I'm talking digital. I came from a digital world. I'm charging you $80 or $100 a month, and nothing comes in the mail every month. It's a problem. So, attrition is our number one most important thing to prevent. Everything we're doing is about attrition prevention. You guys are involved emotionally in something that the common recurring theme is you're at home. You don't want to leave home.
No.
So that's pretty attrition preventative. So the target was Expedia. Why? Because when you analyze the direct selling space and how few companies are public, Herbalife, New Skin, Longevity, there's a handful of direct selling companies that are publicly traded companies. Well, when you look at those companies, you're looking at typically companies that are older than 20 years. That's kind of a benchmark, right? And they're legacy companies. They're doing, usually they're billion-dollar companies. So that's a clue. But really, I was looking at having a public vehicle as part of attrition prevention. Why? Because I wanted to create a model where you are an owner too. If you're a shareholder of a publicly traded company that you're an owner, you're much less likely to quit. How do these publicly traded legacy companies become legacy companies? Because they're low attrition. And people stay because they have this, what I call golden handcuffs. I'm trying to prevent you from quitting. So I want you to be a shareholder. But in order to do that, I got to have a publicly traded company. Now, again, blue ocean strategy. Studying the landscape of direct selling publicly traded companies. There's not a single company in direct selling today that's publicly traded that is a diversified holdings company. I'll come back to that in a second. So Expedia. Expedia owns pretty much every company in travel you've heard of. They own Hotels.com, TripAdvisor, Trivago, Hotwire, Cheap Tickets.
Kayak.
No, Kayak is owned by Priceline. So whatever Expedia doesn't own, Priceline does. But what that technically makes them, that's okay.
You good? All right, good.
I don't tell lies. You can broadcast Facebook all you want. In fact, I hope there's a certain douchebag watching.
I didn't want to disrupt you too much, but I had several people coming to me, and I didn't think you had a problem.
This isn't those companies you've been at that says, oh, you can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they don't want their lies being broadcasted.
Right. Preach.
So a diversified holdings company, okay? Expedia, a year ago when we were looking at the target, remember, I know it's hot in here. Don't worry about it.
It's a good heat, Robert.
Because we're on fire.
A diversified holdings company. So Expedia is a publicly traded company, but it owns, either in part or in whole, a whole lot of other companies that are themselves subsidiaries. So they are independent. Hotels.com operates independent. Trivago, independent. TripAdvisor, independent. These are all these companies that they own, but they're owned by the parent. And because of that diversified holdings model, their market cap and share value is determined. Market cap is the value of the company, and the share value is literally how much the share is worth. So when I set the target, okay, remember this is part of the blue ocean strategy. So the strategy is, how do we do something that's never been done in direct selling as a strategy to bring in to render the competition irrelevant? Make sense? You with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole idea was to emulate this. Why? Because there's never been in the history of direct selling a diversified holdings company that owns an MLM as one of its subsidiaries. Why does this matter? Because all of these companies are generating their own money, their own dollars. But because they're subsidiaries of the parent, all of those are being reported up to the publicly traded company. So that means they are determining the market cap and share value. Why does that matter? Well, every other network marketing company that's publicly traded today is themselves the public company. Nu Skin is the public company. Herbalife is the public company. So their market cap and share value is determined by their sales volume, or it loses money. If it loses money, makes money, it itself determines the market cap and share value, right? In a diversified holdings company, all of them are responsible for the market cap and share value. So any one of them does not determine the market cap and share value. This has never been done in direct selling. So, why do I want to be a diversified holdings company? Well, I'm an entrepreneur. Actually, I'm an elopreneur, but
Yes.
because I am an entrepreneur trying to create wealth. So why you become it's not about the money, but if you're like me and you can't have a job and have a paycheck, and you live a certain lifestyle, wealth is your target. Now, it doesn't mean that defines me from a happiness perspective. That just means I'm an entrepreneur, and at the end of the day, money still matters, right?
Right.
So, but the biggest reason that this mattered is because everyone knows that the owners are liars, right? They know they're lying about it. They know they're in the downline. If you guys showed up here and I said, I am not in the downline, would you believe me? No. Let's be honest.
No.
You didn't know me.
No, you'd be like everyone else.
I'd be like everyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you sort of try and believe those liars, but unless I had an actual viable reason to convince you that not only am I not in the downline, but I don't have to make a dime from the network marketing company. That would change some things. Some of you are confused. Okay, I will explain. I'm not in the downline, and I don't have to make a dime from the MLM company because I'm the largest shareholder of the public company.
Huh. That's awesome.
What does that mean? That means I control the vote. So I can never get voted out of my own company again. But moreover, my wealth creation mechanism isn't defined by the success or failure, the profits or loss of the direct selling division, because we're building a diversified holdings company. So I have only one motivation, one goal, as to become a wealthy. And when I talk about wealth, I want you guys to understand wealth is different than getting rich. But, so here's what I mean, just so if you're not clear. Shaquille O'Neal, he's rich. The owner of the basketball team is wealthy. Right? So I'm on a wealth path. I know how to get rich. I'm trying to create wealth. So I set a target and a goal. By the way, my goal is your goal. That's what makes this really interesting. But when we achieve that goal, I don't know what kind of billionaire I am, but it's really stupid. But it changes the motivation. It changes the whole philosophy of how I'm operating. Because I'm not in the downline. I don't have to make any money from the network marketing company, which means I don't have to manipulate the comp plan and the genealogy. I don't have to do deals. We don't do deals here. We don't write checks. There's no such thing as a BDA in this company. Every single leader that came here on their own.
Awesome.
So you heard the story of Keith Yarbrough introducing me to Wes Benson. And I discovered, I sort of knew this, but I had validation. So, you know, when we talk about these narcissistic sociopaths, usually these are the guys driving the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris, and they're just kind of living a certain way because it's all about them and their flash, right? And when you look at salt of the earth networkers, you see more financial literacy. You see people that have made a lot of money and took that money and invested into real business and future because they don't have an ego about, they don't have to drive a Ferrari.
Right.
So when I met Wes Benson, looking at a 27-year veteran, 27 years full-time, never made less than $330,000 a year, made more than $11 million in direct selling. He never owned a Ferrari. He took his money and he invested. He's a millionaire today, multi-millionaire. His assets, or I don't even know what they are, I just know. I know you don't, I didn't know, I know you didn't know that I know, but I know. But what that was really about is that Wes took his money, he didn't have ego behind it, and he really was about taking care of his family and doing the right thing and living the lifestyle that he was teaching everybody how to do. He was leading by example. So 6 years ago, he created this health benefits card you guys have all seen, this concept, right? But what that enabled, of course he didn't know this, I didn't know this, but what I did know going into that lunch, that Wes was trying to take that card and put it into these other network marketing environments, because that's what he knew, that's where he had relationships. The first thing I said to him, because I saw the value of this benefits card, I said, why do you want to give those douchebags this card? I got an idea. He's like, well, tell me, Robert. I said, well, I'm building a diversified holdings company. I want to partner with you. And I'm going to build a multi-billion-dollar company. Wouldn't it be better if you just put your health benefits card in a $10 billion company instead of 27 douchebag companies? He said, yes, but that's not really out there. I said, well, we can go do that. But really, the motivation was, I wanted Wes Benson in front of the room. He's over there trying to get all these deals so he can give his value proposition away, make money on it, which he was doing. But I just happen to have this interesting win-win-win scenario. Because I had already crafted how our direct selling would be a wholly owned subsidiary of the public company. And I'm building that diversified holdings company. So Wes, if you let me take a piece of your company in exchange for a lot of shares of this company, and you help me and I help you achieve this goal, I'm going to make you a 100 millionaire. 100 millionaire. And all we have to do is build this company. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to give you a bunch of shares in this company. You give this company ownership in your company. But really what I want you to do is sit on top of this company. And I want you to bring your value and your voice to the world, because you know how to do it as good as anyone else, and that's why Wes Benson is your noble ambassador. And then Wes introduced me to Wes Bishop, and I did it again. And then I did it again with some other people, because I'm building a diversified holdings company. And I'm doing it not to just acquire any company. I'm doing it because I'm trying to acquire leaders to build this thing the right way with the right people. But ultimately, what really is happening here is now the direct selling division isn't responsible by itself for the market cap and share value of the public company. Okay? So, there's more to this part of this. This is a blue ocean strategy, right? I'm trying to render the competition irrelevant. I've already done that because there's never been a network marketing company that's been part of a a diversified holdings company. It's never happened. Number one. Number two, I wanted to be able to explain why I'm not in the downline. Number three, in the continuation of the golden handcuffs, if I give you a world-class product, world-class leadership, a world-class compensation plan, you'd probably join me anyways, right?
Yes.
But if I enhanced your rank elevation so that you could be a shareholder in the public company, if you couldn't afford to come in, because here's the challenge, and if I'm being honest, real wealth is created on planet Earth through publicly traded companies. I'm talking about wealth creation. It does not happen in private companies for the most part. In other words, you got to play with the big boys and the big leagues and publicly traded companies, and most people can't play there because you don't have the money, you don't have the resources, you don't have the disposable income to invest in $127 a share Facebook or $100 a share Expedia. In fact, who's tracking, I don't have my phone in here, share values? No, not us. We're irrelevant right now. Expedia. What's the market cap? How much? Market cap. 15.87 billion. So 15.8 billion. That's how much Expedia is worth. Let's try Priceline. How much is Priceline share right now? Wish I had my phone. I would have done this. Priceline.
This is 2,000.
Yeah.
That's probably right. $33.
Okay.
Last time I checked, it was
So,
18.
yeah, that's right. So, what's the market cap? Market cap of Priceline.
It's got a dash next to it. I don't know. It doesn't say.
Okay. Berkshire Hathaway share value. What?
Per share.
Per share, $303,100 for one share.
$303,000 for one share of Berkshire Hathaway. You guys heard of Warren Buffett, right?
Yeah.
He controls Berkshire Hathaway. He's the second richest man on planet Earth. One share of Berkshire Hathaway is $300,000. One share of Priceline is $2,033. Most people can't buy shares of these publicly traded companies. So they can't play at that elevation. So our mission was to help people earn shares. In other words, what if you got into any of these companies when they first did their IPO? And you stayed the course, depending on how many shares you could afford when they came out. You wouldn't be in this room right now. So I'm only sharing that with you because this is the wealth creation model that as you elevate and rank in the comp plan, you could become a shareholder and continue to earn a piece of this rock, because I want you to have golden handcuffs so that you don't quit. Make sense?
Yep.
Makes sense.
No questions. No questions. I'm sorry.
Hashtag golden handcuffs.
Okay, so again, I'm giving you blue ocean strategy. Why? What? Okay, remember, just shoot me in the head and come do this again. It's really hard. But we're going to do it. We're going to create a model that renders the competition irrelevant. Awesome. So this is part one of the strategy. Part two is actually the bigger problem. I know I told you that the problem is the owners in the downline, they're all liars and douchebags, right? That is what fuel, it's the catalyst to the actual biggest problem. You know what the biggest problem is?
Greed.
False evidence.
There's a company that just sued me. Frivolously. We already kicked their ass, don't worry about it. It's irrelevant. It's frivolous. They did it to continue what we call fear-mongering. To make you believe all the things that they've been telling you about me. That we're broke, we don't have any money, you're not going to get paid, they're putting me out of business, they're suing me. The only thing that was true is that they sued me. Doesn't mean anything. But here's the real problem with the fear. The fear is because you've been to too many companies on your journey already. So you come into this company. We have this problem right now in this company. Many of you are afraid to go talk to your original warm market again. Raise your hand. Tell the truth. Because it doesn't matter how great you felt this weekend, you're afraid to go say it again. Because you said this before. You thought you found your home before. You thought you tried the greatest product before. You thought you had the greatest comp plan before. You got lied to, I know, but when you think about going and talking to people, you're afraid, right? And you guys are, I know a couple of you shaking your head, okay? But think about it from a global perspective of your team. How many of you think right now, as we speak, they're operating in fear? Why? Because they got taught the wrong way. Not by you, but those other douchebags. They got taught that you have to recruit. In fact, here's MLM 101. Right? What's MLM 101? The PowerPoint presentation, the business opportunity presentation is, the first half is the product or service. The second half is the comp plan and the money. And then the call to action is, are you an A, B, or C, and what pack do you want to buy? Right?
Yep.
Yes.
We're led to believe that your success in network marketing is you got to buy the biggest pack and recruit as many people as possible so they can live in this car or drive this car, live in this house, and then you'll be happy. Right?
Right.
How many of you got taught that? That's what you were taught, right? You're not talking to enough people.
Right.
New blood is lifeblood.
Make a list.
The first thing they take, the first thing they teach you in a typical network marketing company is how to make a list of 100 names and do three-way calls. But no one believes they're going to call anybody in the first place. Why would that be the first thing I'm going to teach you? Because I already know everyone's operating here today in 2018. So, okay, remember, it's a blue ocean strategy. I'm trying to define and share with you what the problem is in order to fix it. Okay? So, and by the way, we're not there yet. I'm still course correcting several people. So, because of what I just described to you, the opportunity presentation is the problem. I mean, it's part of the problem, right? It's teaching you to go recruit. The call to action is either an A, B, or C, and what pack are you going to buy? Wow. So we have to change the call to action. And we have to change your why. I changed mine in order to, why would I come and do this again? So, we have to change the call to action, but I got to change your why. I got to change the reason you invite people into that opportunity presentation. I got to change it when they come to your living room. I got to change the call to action. Okay? On that journey of my previous company, in all honesty, when I started that company, even though I desired to try and do something different, for me it was really about the money. Remember, I grew up in that cesspool, and I watched a bunch of people make a bunch of money, and I was like, well, okay, I'm an entrepreneur, I want that money too. But along the way, I realized and learned, I got taught, owning and operating a very fast-growing network marketing company, that I learned what we actually sell. You learned a lot about this weekend. We don't sell products and services. We sell hope. But what is hope? Hope is your pursuit of happiness. You're hoping that you're going to find love or have better love. You're hoping you're going to be healthier. You're hoping you're going to see the world and travel more. You're hoping to find something bigger than you. Sense of purpose, and you're hoping you can make some more money. When you ask people what the number one thing they want out of life is, they say, I want to be happy. And then when you analyze what happiness is, those are the 5 things: love, better health, see the world, sense of purpose, and more money. Now, there's more than that. I'm just saying that when you study and you research what happiness is, it's usually those 5 things. So, why does that matter if you're trying to change the direct selling industry? Well, first and foremost, if you understand that your job in your own home-based business is not to sell products and services, it's literally to help someone elevate their life towards their pursuit of happiness. That makes sense?
Yes.
Because I learned this the hard way. I say the hard way because it was really hard doing it the way we were doing it. But then I was introduced to what was really going on when a woman named Kim Eaton changed my life at this other company. See, she woke up one Tuesday morning full of blood. The tumor was so aggressive it punched a hole right through her chest. She picked herself up, took herself to the hospital. They gave her 2 weeks to live. That weekend, this training event you just saw, we were doing one of these kind of trainings in Miami. This was December 2006. And I show up in Miami. I knew what happened, that Kim was in the hospital, and I had some finite details, but I knew that she had a tumor so aggressive in her breast cancer that it poked its way through her chest. And I walk into the hotel lobby and I'm walking around and I look up and I'm like, Dad, what are you doing here? It's Kim. Kim was in the hotel, in the lobby. And she looked at me and she said, Robert, I didn't know where else to go but to be with my family. I was like, what? She's wrapped in bandages and gauze. She checked out of the hospital when the doctors told her not to get on the plane, to come to Miami to be with her family, which was us. It had nothing to do with travel. It had nothing to do with money. That was it. My life changed forever. Because she taught me what we were really doing. So I started making that what we were really doing. I started making that matter. I started making Kim's story matter. And I got thrown out. Because I was just trying to tell the truth. It's kind of funny when you don't fit in network marketing if you tell the truth. You have to be a liar. Not everywhere. Cesspool. So, I started changing the way I was operating, and I was teaching the leaders, this is not about you, it's about how many lives you can change. And the more lives you change, the more your life will change. They're like, what do you mean? I just concentrate on helping the other people succeed and finding whatever they're looking for. And how did I discover this? Because I started having grown men coming up to me crying. Because I had done something that moved them or changed their life. In what I feel in the moment when Chris Swade is sitting in my office, he can't talk because he's bawling. There's no amount of money that you could pay me to make me feel how I feel watching him be emotional about what we're doing, why we're doing this. There's no amount of money that could make you feel how that feels, that you're doing something that matters.
Right.
So when I learned that a long time ago, I really understood what we were doing. Now why does that matter here? You guys want to change this industry?
Yes.
This is a paradigm shift. This part. Now, I don't like to throw around cliche MLM, vernaculars like paradigm shift and you're in the right place at the right time and all that BS, right? But this is the paradigm shift of how you can change the industry. You change the call to action. You remove the fear by taking away that BS about, are you an A, B, or C? What pack are you going to buy? Asking them to write some big check. All I want you to do is try my product. I just want you to try this product. If you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. Now, pretend like we're in my living room. You just watch the video. It's about 6 minutes. It's the one on the front of your website. You teach them about dose. They watch the video, and now I'm doing a presentation. I'm telling you a little bit more about positive psychology. Teaching you a little bit more about Elevate and Xanthomumol. Forget all the other stuff. All you have to do is talk about dose. See, this is a call to action. I'm not talking about the money or the comp plan. I'm talking about elevating your happiness, I just want you to try my product. That's it. That's it. Here's the paradigm shift. Open up your... The opportunity presentation is over. Now all I want you to do is get with the person who invited you here and tell them how they can help you in your pursuit of happiness. We have this little thing called the happiness assessment form. And it's just a way to figure out if we believe we can elevate your life, but in order to elevate your happiness, in order to determine if we did, we have to know where you're at right now today. In other words, I need to discover your baseline of happiness. So here's how this works. You just choose a number between 1 and 10 of where you feel right now related to where you're at with love. I can't really help you with love. I just want to know where you're at. Where are you at from a health perspective? Between 1 and 10, how do you feel? Where are you at? When was the last time you went on vacation? What's your vacation number? When was the last time you went on a real vacation, not a staycation? Where are you at with your sense of purpose? Are you fulfilled? And finally, where are you at financially? What's your score? I'm just looking for a score. Right? I'm just looking for a number. And by the way, I've never seen a number over 40. And it's okay. This is not a test. I'm just trying to figure out where you're at right now. Say you're at 27, right? I want to get you to a 40. And then, with the person who invited you here, remember this is a call to action. With the person who invited you here, just share with them. There's some simple question. What makes you happy? Because I'm only here to help you elevate your health, wealth, and happiness. So get with the person who brought you here. And then, maybe in about 20 or 30 minutes, if there's enough of you that wanted to hang out, we might talk about how we make money. See what I just did? I've removed the conversation about the money and the comp plan out of the equation. If you're talking about this comp plan, I know it's really hard not to. Stop. Stop talking about the comp plan. Unless, I give you permission, if you're a 1%er, meaning you're qualified to talk about this comp plan. And I can promise you there's like 3 people qualified right now. If you're qualified to talk about the comp plan and you're talking to someone else that's a 1%er, in other words, they're a veteran, that they know comp plans, they understand comp plans, and they ask you about the comp plan, then you can talk about the comp plan. Otherwise, don't talk about it. We have changed already some things going on out there in 80 days, and no one has the comp plan document.
There's the proof.
How's that happen? I thought you had to know what the comp plan is to succeed in network marketing. It's all BS. Okay, so the paradigm shift is later on when that person that you chose to help on their journey, on their pursuit of happiness, when you just decided to help them in your pursuit and you did that, and they come back to you and they're emotional and they say, Chris, thank you. The way you're going to feel when that happens is going to change your life. Now, a funny thing happens. Very interesting. When you stop making it about you and you start making it about everyone else, funny thing happens. The money starts showing up.
Come on.
I don't know about you, but I like waking up every day in my job is elevating people's happiness. And I get paid for it. And I don't have to. This is gone. That was false evidence appearing real. So this, you want to change the industry? This is all you need. You have lanes of opportunities to help them with. In other words, you're going to have people that want to lose weight and get in shape. Do you have some products for them?
Yes.
You have some people that might want to go on a vacation and they need a little help. Do you have something to help them?
Yes.
You have a way for people to make some money. Can you help them?
Yes.
But you can't help them unless you figure out what they're actually needing help with. See, that's the problem. Remember, MLM 101 is, are you an A, B, or C? And which pack do you want to buy? Because I want to shove this down your you-know-what, because that's all that matters. Look at any company you want to. I don't care if it's skincare or ketones. You were taught to just shove it down there. You have to buy all of this. And in some cases, they tell you just shut up and drink it.
You have an esophagus.
I hope he's watching.
Share
So,
this video.
Number 2 is change the conversation, change the call to action, remove the fear that you're having. Because I know you're having it already, it's okay. But you can ask for $100 that you know that when they drink this stuff, what happens? It's crazy, right? How many companies in the industry right now do you know that has a product that is instant gratification?
Zero.
So you shouldn't have any fear about saying, try my product. Don't talk about anything else. Just get them to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes in about 8 minutes, you're like, did you see Les Brown's video? Like Greg told me, he's like bouncing off the walls. All you do is pour one little thing. That's all you have to do. Now, I wish Amy Smith was here. We talked about this. You saw this last night. She's never talked about the comp plan, the money. All she's done is share the product. She's got 1,000, well, probably today she's got 1,200. But that's not really what matters. Because I was trying to get her to understand, and you too, when I made the decision to allow the option of MAT for customers, some of you were upset. But what you didn't realize, that thing is bugging you.
It's a Texas side of Texas side of
The conversation I was having with Amy, because I went to Amy, because if I was going to impact anybody by potentially having a detrimental effect to who retail sales of the products, I said, but Amy, how many entrepreneurs do you have? At that time she had over 30. Now she's got 46. And I said, how many of those started as customers? All but 5.
Wow.
And now those entrepreneurs, what's an entrepreneur? They're an entrepreneur in business with us, with her, that are now going to go out and build and share. And she doesn't even get it yet. That she's likely to be the #1 incomer in this company. Because some of you say, no, she's not. I am.
We ain't got started yet.
Okay. I hope you can catch her. I want you to try. Because I want you to understand what's really happening. There was a study about 8 years ago with Avon. Avon's, arguably the largest company in the world in direct selling. They average $9 or $10 billion a year every year. They did a study that showed that 43% of its distributors started as customers. Almost half of a $10 billion annual business started as a customer. You call that a clue. So I know this, and I'm saying to Amy, don't worry that you're going to lose a little bit of the retail front end, because this comp plan is based on residual income. You guys understand this? The power of residual income is where you're really sitting right now. Use the method of this funnel, okay? You've got this funnel. Of customer acquisition. I'm incentivizing you with customers. Go get 12 of them, I'll give you another $500. Because what I want you to do is I want you to bring the customers into the funnel as a method of recruiting. I don't want you to talk about the comp plan and the money. I want you to introduce people to dose. You already know when they try it, they're going to be hooked, and then they're going to get on Matt. Right? And a percentage of them are going to come out of this, and they're going to become entrepreneurs. 43% of a $10 billion company start as customers. So, don't talk about the comp plan and the money, please. Stop. You were taught wrong. It's just simple as that, okay? Why? I know it's hard when number 3 showed up in your blue ocean strategy. I can't script this stuff. But remember what my motivation is. What's my motivation? No. Oh. No. My motivation.
Create a company. 100 million, billion.
Build wealth.
What happens when we get to $100 a share?
Wow.
I'm a billionaire. But it's not about that, because I want to see a bunch of 10 millionaires, and 50 millionaires, and 100 millionaires. Now, think about that. My motivation's different. I don't earn any money from the downline. This is my motivation. So it changes the whole philosophy of the compensation plan. In other words, I don't want any breakage.
That's breakage.
So remember we talked about all the douchebags. In case you're watching. See, they don't want you to elevate in rank because you're taking the money out of their pockets. They're in the downline. In fact, this was the binary was born out of. Douchebag network marketers that want to build a model that prevented you from making the money because they just want you to go sell, 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 right? But prevent you. You guys understand breakage, okay? So I was brought up in a binary, and this is pretty much the same in the unilevel, okay? So follow me here. Binary compensation plan breakage means you usually have to match from your lesser leg volume. Your lesser leg volume is your pay leg. How many of you have heard pay leg? You only make money based on your pay leg. But yet you're responsible for all of this volume over here Because you were told to go build 2 teams. But you only get paid on your lesser leg. And this team took off. But you're stuck here. In other words, they're breaking your ability to make all of this money too. It's called breaking. And it's worse than that. On top of that, not only are you limited here, but you're limited in the dollar amount based on your rank. In other words, there might be a whole bunch of money here that you're entitled to, but because you're only at this rank, you don't get that money until you get to the next rank. But you can't get to the next rank because you can't get this volume. And you're operating at 70% attrition, so you can't even keep up with all the people that are quitting. That's what's happening. How many of you have been in that company?
Yep. How many?
Any company you can name. Okay, so what if, number one, you could divorce the rank from your ability to make all the money you want?
Come on.
That's what I'm talking about.
You didn't understand? Okay. What if we remove that part of the breakage that says you can only make X amount of money until you're a certain rank?
Yeah.
Now, we divorce the rank. So you can make as much money as you're going to go out and make, no matter what rank you are. Rank is now what it should be. You saw it. Recognizing you for the work that you're doing and bonusing you for that.
Yeah.
That's what recognition is. Not preventing you from making the money. Why? Because I have a specific goal. That means I want as many people as possible making as much money as possible to get to the highest ranks to make all the money. Why? Remember, we have a diversified holdings company. This company right here, called Elpreneur, is a wholly owned subsidiary with lanes of opportunity. And all of the revenues, everything's getting ready to change because we're about to report a bunch of revenues. All the revenues from this company are reported up to the public company.
Wow.
And guess what's going to happen? We're going to drive market cap and share value.
Wow.
So, why would I prevent you from making money?
You wouldn't.
I don't want you to talk about this. This is part of it. We're not talking about the comp plan of the money. But since we're talking about the comp plan of the money, how many companies do a dollar to point ratio? Why? That's part of breakage. Yeah, you sold $100, but you're only getting 50 CV. We're keeping the other 50. I don't want you to take that out of my pocket. That's breakage. And how would you like to earn 110% of your best 2 every month?
Woo.
You don't have to talk about anything else. If and when you're going to blow your big mouth and talk about the comp plan, this is all you have to say. You don't have to give them any details. They don't have to know page 2, page 3. They don't need to know anything except these 3 things. And if they understand compensation, their jaws are on the floor. It gets crazier. Let's go back to the Amy Smith conversation. Amy Smith has 46 entrepreneurs and growing. Right?
Yeah.
This month, this one and this one, she's going to earn 110% on because, well, she definitely has more than 5. Okay? How much is she making on every single other one? What?
20%.
22%. 22% matching bonus on every single other person that earns a check. So do you understand why I'm saying she's likely to become the #1 income earner? Because guess what's going to happen with a percentage of these people? They're going to go and duplicate. Who enrolled Amy Smith?
Cassandra Nagel was enrolled by Shane.
Cassandra Nagel is her personal sponsor. She's about to get paid. Because Cassandra is going to earn 110% of everything Amy does. How many of you want to go find an Amy Smith? You understand why I saved her for last? She's proving concept on funnels, meaning just put the customers in the funnel. She's made more money in 2 months than she's ever made in the history of her little career in network marketing. And I promise you, she doesn't know what she doesn't know. She's doing this by accident. She literally doesn't really understand what's happening. Who talks to her all the time?
Me.
Does she understand what's really happening yet? No. She doesn't, right? She has somewhat of a clue, but she doesn't understand how big this is. But I want you to understand how big this is. Because if all you did for the next couple years is share the product, never talk about the compound, that's all you did, you're going to make more money than you've ever made in your life. Wow.
Woohoo!
It's not, it's crazy. It's not rocket science. How is this enabled? You want to talk about competing with those douchebags? How much is a tub of... We are not a coffee company, by the way. Stop saying that. But how much is a tub of your functional beverage? How much is a serving?
$1.10.
What?
$1.03.
$1.33. How much is this is a functional beverage. How many people have changed their lives on this one functional beverage? Holy crap. How much is a large cup of coffee at Starbucks? No, just a coffee.
$7.
Let's just round it down. Let's say it's $2.50 for a black cup of coffee. You're operating with these products that across the board are about $40 each. It's another paradigm shift, by the way.
Yes.
I have had supposed consultants, some of who have betrayed my relationship, have told horrible stories about me, try to convince me that I could never build a company at $40 products with no, especially with the COGS I'm paying. You'll go out of business, Robert. You can't support a combine. You have to have at least a 6 to 8 time markup. But I'm crazy. Because I already know it's in the math. It's just sheer volume.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just an EBITDA. You guys know what EBITDA is? There's a point that your cost of sales and your profit margins will pass each other. And when this happens, when it passes, you're making money. It's just a volume number. Now, I go back to helping build the largest one of its kind that was broken 6 ways a Sunday. Broken comp plan, product not worth much, yet became the largest one in the industry. Why? Sheer volume. At ridiculous attrition, sheer volume. For any money. That's really not why. Can you go get grape? The real reason is because it wasn't a travel company. It was a training company. What you witnessed this weekend was not about coffee and Xanthomax. We didn't even talk about it.
No.
What we intended to do is teach you some things that you didn't know. Because again, when you're studying legacy companies, you want to build $1 billion legacy company. What's a legacy company? A company that's going to be around for your kids 40 years later. You have to teach people how to be in business for themselves. They need to be taught life skills. They need to develop themselves personally. How many of you got taught life skills in school? School? Nobody? Yes, I know this. I used to do this, right? In front of hundreds of people. I used to train and I would ask them. I'd be in a room full of people, 500, 800 people strong, and I'd say, how many of you have ever heard of the book Think and Grow Rich? Half the hands would go up. 30, 40, 50, 60-year-olds. Well, how are we going to be in this country, in this state of age, and only half of the people have even heard of Think and Grow Rich? How's that possible? Gets better. Then I survey those half, and I say, how many of you have actually read the book? Like 30 people. In a room of 500, 30 hands go up. It's crazy. Of those 30 people, I asked, and how many of you actually implemented what Napoleon Hill taught in the book? Those things that could help you think and grow rich. Usually it was 0. Sometimes 1. Well, why does that matter? Because when you study the history of direct selling and you look at the companies that have achieved what they've achieved, you can track it back to the training. Amway became the largest company on planet Earth because it trained. Actually, Amway didn't train. They had teams of people training their people. That's how it really went down. But it was because of the training. In the early 80s, they started distributing cassette tapes when they first came out. And then the same guys that helped build that went over to a little company called Monavie. And Monavie became the fastest company to $1 billion. Now, they had the wrong ownership, they're gone. Go back to my last company. That's what happened. That training, that content, that life skills that too many people don't know enough about. You're trying to be your own boss working from home, but you don't have life skills. You don't even understand goal setting, for real.
Right.
Leadership development. You have no financial literacy. None of this stuff got taught in school. No wonder people fail so much, Because we're just telling them go sell packs and talk about the money. Greg right there?
Correct.
So I talk about this a little high level over the weekend, but I want to get a little more depth because I want you to understand what's going on and why this is going to be different. So remember, I'm coming out of this other company that became the largest of its kind because of the training. And there was only about 6 people that got taught this edutainment in the world from the originator of it. Only 2 today still teach it. The guy that I did it with in my last company, this guy right here. So when I'm telling you, when I understood when Greg Ammerman showed up in my office, because I knew who he was and what he did, you understand, I'm one of the few guys on planet Earth that actually not only understood it, but had built the largest one of its kind with this type of training that you guys saw a piece of. You just saw a Cliff Notes version, really. But here's what's different, and I want you guys to understand this. There's a big difference between Greg and the other people that have done this. Greg was a social worker. His DNA is about helping people. When he says he's lazy and he doesn't want to do it, he literally means it. Like, he came here, he missed this part. When I was talking about train the trainers, I have brought in maybe the greatest trainer there is in the world for edutainment to help us train trainers. Because Greg isn't going to be the guy like we did the last one. Greg wants to come here and help us all learn some of these skills. And there's people in the room that know these skills. But now we're going to do it together in unity with our business model that's arguably different than every other business model. So I want you to understand what's really happening here and what really happened this weekend. Companies don't, in 78 days have the kind of event we just had. We were even sitting here going, oh my God. Wow. Woo. Right? Wow. This was crazy. Now we had some ideas. I knew that if we opened the show with the boxer, and I didn't tell anybody. I mean, obviously only they knew. Because I knew a lot of you didn't have the benefit of that edutainment. I knew that this would be different. And I knew if we opened the show and we blew people's minds right out of the gate. Were you blown away in the first?
Yeah.
But like I was saying earlier, we can't be everywhere. We need a small army of people that can do the same thing. In character, the same way. In multiple places at the same time. This is what we're going to do has never been done. Ever.